Hi everyone, Mike Friedman from AI, Technology and Design back here for another day in our 30 Days of Technology series. And today we're going to be talking about one of my all-time favorite subjects in the entire world, and that is, of course, listening to your favorite music on vinyl. Specifically, how companies like Audio-Technica can help you get into vinyl really easily without spending a ton of money, but still getting that great, warm, rich vinyl sound. I've been into vinyl since the early 90s, so I've been doing this for a very long time, and it absolutely warms my heart that the resurgence of vinyl is here. People of all ages, demographics, interests, and backgrounds are listening to vinyl, have discovered that it is the ultimate listening experience if you love music, and there are a lot of reasons why we love vinyl. It's warm, it's rich, and it's lifelike. It has that nostalgia factor. We all grew up, well, those of us who are my age anyway, all grew up maybe sitting at our grandparents' or our parents' place listening to records, and that nostalgia for that sound and that experience is there. It's also something you can hold, touch, and feel, and I've said this a million times. None of us really remember the first music track we downloaded, but we all remember the first record or CD we owned, and there's something magical about picking up that sleeve, about holding it in your hands, about seeing the art, about reading the liner notes and being immersed not just in the music that you're listening to, but the entire experience as the artist intended. There are a lot of reasons why you might want to get into vinyl listening. Maybe someone passed along a collection of their records to you. Maybe you grew up listening to vinyl and you just want to recapture some of that nostalgia. Or, if you're like me, you appreciate the warm richness that analog music provides, and specifically the detail and the amount of information that you get from vinyl you simply can't get from any level of digital recording. It doesn't matter why you're into it or why you're getting into it. What matters is that you're listening. So one of my favorite things is helping guide people into the world of vinyl, because it's a pretty inundating and daunting world to get into. But there are great companies like Audio-Technica that make great products that are both cost-effective and easy to use that will allow anyone, from a casual user to a hardcore audiophile, to get into vinyl and to start listening to their favorite music. Audio-Technica has a deep pedigree when it comes to making music sound great. They make a variety of products and they have a long-standing history in our business. So they have some iconic turntables from years ago that still work great today, and that's one of the indications of whether a company today is worthy of being considered iconic or not. Does the stuff they made years and years ago still measure up to today's standards and specifications? To be quite frank with you, the stuff they made years and years ago exceeds a lot of the stuff that is made today by other companies, so they have a great background. They'll make everything from turntables to headphones to microphones and even some of the cartridges required. So they do make a full ecosystem for people who love music and want to get into music, and the best part is their products are compatible with high-end audio systems, they're compatible with things like Sonos, and pretty much any type of system in between. So Audio-Technica turntables are great for you if you're thinking of getting into this or getting back into this. Because remember, there are a lot of people who listen to vinyl who lost their ability to care about it and then have regained it in the last few years as well. So it doesn't really matter what your situation is. Audio-Technica's probably got a great solution for you to get started. If you've grown up in the digital world, in other words, streaming wirelessly, the concept of an analog turntable with all the wires that are sometimes required can be quite daunting. However, for those of you who do like this convenience that comes with wireless, there's a great option for you, in that Audio-Technica actually makes Bluetooth-enabled turntables. Why would I want a Bluetooth-enabled turntable? Well, there's two competing schools of thought. The first is the value of listening to vinyl is that you're getting an analog experience. The flip side of that is a lot of the equipment we're listening through today is already digital amplified equipment. So we're already in a digital world. So old school thinking is that we don't want to take an analog signal, convert it to a digital signal, which is what we have to do to transmit it via Bluetooth, and then potentially convert it back to an analog signal. The purist would lose their mind if we suggested that. However, I'm going to suggest something else. That sometimes convenience and ease of use trumps sound quality, which sounds funny coming from me, but let's be realistic. If you're buying your first turntable, you've got a handful of records maybe you got, or you just started going and buying records, and you just want to set your turntable up across the room from your stereo so you could sit in your chair and play music, what's the value of that versus putting it across the room where you're never going to use it and enjoy it? So that's number one. And number two, the biggest challenge we find in putting a turntable in a lot of modern homes is a lot of the audio equipment in modern homes is elsewhere. It's hidden away. People don't like to look at it anymore, but the turntable does sit out. The challenge is if there's not wires run from where that turntable is supposed to be to where the stereo is, you're not going to get sound from it. So you have to plan ahead. Or you have to put the turntable over where your sound equipment is. What's nice about a Bluetooth-enabled turntable is it's very flexible. As long as you have power, you can put it pretty much anywhere that you're within range of Bluetooth speakers. So for those of you who are living in the world of Sonos, and literally any of the other Bluetooth devices out there, heck, even a Bose Bluetooth speaker will work with this. You have a ton of different flexibility. And what I really like about their Bluetooth turntables is say you buy it to get started. Trust me, when you get started in the audio world, it's rarely where you finish. So let's make a couple of assumptions. If you're like most of the rest of us, you're probably going to upgrade your gear over the years. When you do that, when you have gear that can support a better quality audio experience, this same turntable still comes with traditional RCA analog left and right cables that easily hook up to any stereo system. Ridiculously flexible, ridiculously easy, simple to use. For 300 Canadian dollars, this is a great value proposition. As far as setting up your first Audio Technica turntable, it couldn't be easier. Again, I referenced the world I came out of, which is really high-end audio. So I'd worked with brands like Lin. As I mentioned, I own a VPI turntable. Really great quality products. Very expensive though, so very prohibitive for a lot of people, but more importantly, not everyone knows how to appropriately set up a turntable, and there's a lot of science and experience required to do so. One of the things I really like about the Audio Technica turntable products is that out of the box, there's only a few things you have to do. You have to attach a belt, you have to pull a red tab out, put a few pieces together, but it's not designed to require the skills of someone who's grown up playing, adjusting, and servicing turntables. In other words, it's something you can easily do on your own, in your home, with minimal experience required. I will go a step further and say the instructions that come with Audio Technica turntables are even easier to follow than the instructions that come from your favorite Swedish furniture store. So very simple, very straightforward, and they have great customer support if you do run into any problems or you need any help afterwards. So first things first, one of the things I really like about Audio Technica turntables is they come with the cartridge right in the box. That's really important because you know if you're spending $300 for a turntable, that's all you have to spend to get started. You don't have to go back to the store later and go, I forgot that part. And it makes it a lot easier and takes a ton of guesswork out of it for you. However, if you have an older turntable or if you decided you want to increase the level of experience you have with your existing turntable, upgrading your cartridge is a really good way to do so. Now, here's the challenge. Cartridges start at $3,500 and they go up to about 6,700 Canadian dollars. So there is a wide breadth of cartridges. I can buy really, really expensive tires and put them on a BMW, Mercedes, or some other sports car. However, I would argue that if I put those same tires in a 1986 Honda Civic, well, it might go a little bit faster. It's still just going to be a 1986 Honda Civic. So that's thing number one. If you're spending $200 or $300 on a turntable and you're spending 2 or 3 times that on a cartridge, I might suggest that's not money well spent. However, if you've got a very high-end turntable like I do, investing in a higher end cartridge makes a huge amount of difference. So when you are thinking about a turntable, there's a couple things I want you to think about. Number one, what kind of cartridge comes with it? And this is important because this just makes it easier for you to get started. And the second thing is, what kind of cartridge would ideally support the listening experience I'm creating here? And there's a lot of resources on Audio Technica's site for that, and just in general amongst the audiophile pages that are out there as well. Last thing I want to tell you is that just be careful when you start going to those sites that are full of audiophiles. We all have opinions, and some people can be kind of preachy, some people can be kind of judgy. Remember one thing, if it sounds good, it is. That's all you have to know. So as long as it sounds good to you and your ears, don't worry about anything anyone else says.